Hey, how's it going guys? Phil here, and I'm excited to be sharing with you my first delivery from a new subscription service I just joined, Wildgrain. Wildgrain specializes in artisanal baked goods like breads, pastries, and pasta. I'd like to thank Wildgrain for partnering with me and sending me my first box on the house. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Your Wildgrain products will come packed in eco-friendly recyclable insulating material with dry ice packs. If there's any residual dry ice in your box, be sure to wear thermal insulated gloves when handling them to avoid frostbite injuries. The dry ice packs may also appear to be empty, as the frozen CO2 sublimates to gas to keep the contents of the box frozen. In this shipment, I received a 4-pack of croissants, a lifetime freebie in every box as part of the current promotion, a sourdough rosemary garlic loaf, 6-pack of pumpkin cinnamon rolls, slow fermented cranberry pecan bread, a box of fettuccine, a box of tonnarelli, and a plain sourdough loaf. There was also a gel ice pack in the shipment, which you can reuse or dispose of. Here's a quick look at all the goodies in my shipment. Each product has cooking instructions printed right on the packaging, alongside nutrition facts and ingredients. All Wildgrain products are made with only a few clean, simple ingredients and contain no preservatives. These products are baked from frozen and don't need to be thawed prior to making them, so make sure you have plenty of space in your freezer before you receive your shipment. You can also reschedule or skip shipments at any time. The first thing I tried were the croissants. I preheated my countertop oven to 380 degrees Fahrenheit and set the timer to 18 minutes. Then I placed the frozen croissants on a lined baking tray and set them on the middle rack. The hardest part about this process is waiting for them to be done while smelling all the deliciousness. Around the 17-minute mark, the croissants were looking pretty puffed up but only lightly brown, so I adjusted the time to give them a few extra minutes. After 20 minutes, here's how they turned out. They look super light and fluffy, with lots of flaky layers, and smell fresh and buttery. You should let them cool a few minutes before digging in, so you don't burn your mouth, but I highly recommend eating them while they're still warm, as the butter may stiffen slightly when fully cool. You can hear the delicate, light crispiness of the flaky outer layers, and inside you'll find a soft, stretchy, airy center. Wow, that's really good. It's got a nice, crispy, dry crust, but a moist interior that's very buttery and smooth. I like the crunch on the outside. I also like the tenderness of the croissant in the middle. While a plain butter croissant is fine on its own, if you like sweet pastries, try it with a chocolate hazelnut spread like Nutella, or fill it with your favorite jams or jelly. If you prefer a more savory version, try it as a fried egg sandwich or with cheese and bacon. The next thing I tried from my Wildgrain box was the fettuccine, and making frozen pasta is pretty similar to making dried pasta, but it actually cooks a little bit faster. Just bring a large pot of water to a rolling boil and season it with salt. Then place the frozen pasta right in. As the pasta defrosts, you'll want to separate the noodles gently with a wooden utensil, and let the water come back up to a full boil before starting a 4 to 5 minute timer, until the pasta reaches your desired tenderness. When the noodles are done, I like to save about a cup of the cooking water before draining the pasta, to use for thickening homemade pasta sauce. And I love that the box even recommends this as a tip, since it's something I've always done anyway. So here I've got my homemade pumpkin tomato sauce ready to go, which is a perfect blend of sweet and savory fall flavors. If you like pumpkin ravioli, I highly recommend it. What I like to do is put the drained pasta back into the empty pot, add the sauce on top, and mix in a bit of that saved pasta water. Then gently toss the noodles in the sauce on low heat to ensure that you get some sauce in every bite. For plating, I've tossed in some sliced Italian sausage and top-dressed it with grated Parmesan and black truffles. Now I found that these fresh noodles are a little thicker than store-bought dried pasta, so these tend to have a more toothsome bite to them, similar to thick-cut lasagna noodles, which is perfect for al dente pasta lovers. The noodles are firm yet yielding, and have a satisfying richness since they're made with whole eggs, and a bit of savoriness from the salted pasta water. The taste and texture of the tonnarelli was pretty much the same, though this is a square-shaped extruded noodle, similar to spaghetti. Next up, I had to try the pumpkin cinnamon rolls. Again, you can bake these straight from the freezer with no thawing necessary. They come with a pack of icing, and you'll need to gently break them apart and place them on a lined tray a few inches apart. Then bake for 25 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. My kitchen's already smelling like a Cinnabon shop. You'll notice that these don't poof up quite so much, but they look and smell amazing. Let them cool for 5 to 10 minutes before drizzling on the icing, which should be fully defrosted by the time the rolls are done baking. These rolls are fairly dense, with almost a biscuit-like moist interior. That's good. The pumpkin spice flavor really comes through. The icing is not too sweet. It's got a little bit of a crisp exterior. It's a little bit crunchy. But a nice, fluffy, soft cake interior. Now it's not spongy or stretchy like the Cinnabons that you would get at the mall. But that's good. You know what? I do enjoy that little crunch on the outside, and I feel like when you get more to the center of the cinnamon roll, it's going to be a little bit softer. As for the bread loaves, I started with the slow fermented cranberry pecan bread, and this one needs to be baked at 400 degrees Fahrenheit right on your oven rack without a pan, so I decided to use my big oven for this. It'll bake for 18 to 22 minutes, though when it's done, you still have to let it cool for about 20 minutes more before cutting into it. Let's see how it turned out. It's got a really nice crispy crust on it, and inside is a medium density crumb, not too closed nor excessively open. The inside is moist but not sticky. So I'm going to try the inside of the bread first. It has a nice, soft, chewy texture. A little bit pillowy, a little bit fluffy. Not too dry, not too dense. Very moist. There's a little bit of texture there from nuts in here on the crust part. Nice and crunchy, but not hard. The cranberry bread, because of the craisins in here, lightly sweet, but not a sweet bread. This is not like a banana bread or pumpkin loaf or something that's very sweet. It is still very much bread that you could spread butter or cream cheese or make into a sandwich. It would go really well with like a smoked turkey, like a sharp cheese. That is really good. I like to store my fresh loaves in a linen bread bag. This helps to retain some of the moisture to keep it from drying out too fast and going stale, but is also breathable to help prevent mold growth, as long as you finish it within a couple days to a week. But you can also use a bread box or Ziploc bag. Since that loaf went pretty quickly, I also made the sourdough rosemary garlic bread. This loaf has the same baking instructions, so including cool down, it was ready to serve in just 45 minutes. This loaf also has a crispy, crusty exterior. And inside it has a somewhat tight crumb that's soft and chewy. If you prefer a softer crust, you can wrap the loaf in foil prior to baking, though you should remove it at the end of baking and bake for an additional 5 minutes. So I'm going to try the bread plain, just like this. And it has like a little bit of a vinegar smell to it. That's the sourdough starter. And the inside crumb is very tight and closed, as I mentioned. Nice and moist and chewy. Got a little bit of a tang to it. The crust has a nice little crunch to it as well. And the garlic flavor actually comes through pretty well. You can see here little bits of garlic and rosemary peppered throughout. Also really tasty. Now this would go really great with, say, like a chowder, something cream based or tomato based. I also think that this would be great dipped in some olive oil with some spices and herbs. And of course you can toast it, put butter on it. So if you're a fan of tangy sourdoughs, this is actually quite good. I like to cut my sourdough loaves in half and take slices from alternating sides so I can put the two halves back together for storage to prevent the cut sides from drying out too quickly. Both sourdough loaves were very similar in terms of crust and crumb, and while slightly denser than one that I would have made at home, had a very pleasant taste, aroma, and right amount of tanginess. Overall, the products in my Wildgrain shipment were delicious and super easy to make with little to no preparation and were ready to eat within 30 to 45 minutes. That's way less time than it would have taken me to make them from scratch, and I was still able to get that amazing, fresh from the oven homemade taste. If you'd like to check out Wildgrain for yourself, be sure to use my affiliate link in the description below, and the first 50 folks to redeem my exclusive discount code, Reviewed by Phil, will receive $10 off their first box and free croissants for life in every box they receive from their subscription. Delivery is always free, and after your first box, you can customize your shipments in your account by substituting items or including optional add-ons up to 4 days before it ships. I hope you enjoyed this review. You can ask me any questions in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join me next time.